Welcome to Talkin VAWLS, episode number 84, the weekly BasketVAWLS edition. We're brought to you by the Outright Geekery Podcast Network at outrightgeekery.com. Also, we're currently live on YouTube, courtesy of the S&B Network. So make sure you go ahead and smash that like button, share out the link. My name this week is the artist formerly known as Vols JP.
Oh, I'm Dobber. What's happening?
Well, we said last week, was Tennessee a better basketball team, or did they play two bad opponents in Vanderbilt and Ole Miss? I think that we got our answer last night. They played bad basketball teams. Tennessee is not a good basketball team. I kept hoping and hoping and hoping things would change. They are very inconsistent, and I don't know the answer to it. How can they come out and play a really good basketball game against Kansas and had opportunities to win that game, and then last night lay a big egg against Texas A&M? Very, very disappointing last night, Thompson-Boling Arena.
Well, I mean, it's similar to the letdown against Georgia that they had. I mean, they've been playing some decent ball, and then go to play Georgia and just not show up, not have any passion.
Well, I mean, I thought last night that there was effort there. I thought there was effort, but I mean, just absolutely just getting killed on the glass.
Well, and that I think is going to go back to the lack of size and length and really a true big man. We've seen a little bit of Uros in the paint, but at this point, he just looks awkward and clumsy. And man, I've got to see more from him. He needs to really take off and do some stuff. I had those 8 points at the end of last week's show, and yeah.
Well, why didn't I guess I'm going to do a little what if or coaching critiquing. I understand that Uros Plasvich is not, I mean, defensively, offensively, he's not there yet. But when you're getting absolutely destroyed on the glass like we did last night, would you at least try to put him in a little bit? Because I mean, it wasn't like
take up some space. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, get somebody with some size in there, because obviously the reason why that there were so many offensive rebound opportunities for Texas A&M is because that they weren't shooting well. I mean, so
absolutely.
I mean, it's not like that they were just absolutely just throwing it in the ocean and just everything that they threw in. I mean, their field goal percentage for the entire game wasn't even 30%, was it? I'd have to look here.
Right at 30. And we shot
30.4%.
We shot 47%.
Yeah, and we lost.
Beat.
Yeah, but because they out rebounded us 46-21, and we got the 7-foot center sitting over there on the bench. I don't even know how much he even played. I know he didn't play in the second half.
No.
I tried to see how much he played in the first half, but I couldn't even find that, and I didn't want to even spend the time even looking for it because it's moot point now. But I guess I don't understand that. I mean, we were absolutely getting killed on the boards, and ultimately, I mean that was the difference in the basketball game.
Absolutely, and it was magnified in the second half. And I mean, it just there was a severe lack of physical play, and I mean, I'm going to go out and say toughness. They wanted A&M wanted the ball more. They were willing to bang around and attack loose balls, and they came away with more than double than we did. So,
Yeah. yeah, and I agree. You know, Troy's saying that was a lack of effort. You know, and I can agree with that. I mean, you know, rebounding, but I'm telling you, I mean, Fulkerson is out there playing. I mean, he is trying. Really, Fulkerson to me is their most consistent player. Him and Bonds.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I mean, there's just no argument to that. They are the most consistent, and but we just don't have anybody outside of Fulkerson that even gets down there and really tries to do any kind of rebounding. Him and Pons, and you know the last two games, James, tell you, I mean it's been sad. I mean he plays decent Saturday against Kansas,
Kansas.
and we win that basketball game.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a terrible game Saturday, absolutely terrible, and we lose by 6 points at
But,
Kansas. I mean, he has just a so-so game and scores 10 points. Tennessee more than likely wins that basketball game.
well, he didn't go for double figures in either game.
No, no, and last night, and he's been getting in foul trouble.
Yeah.
And of
That
course that's
that's
been
being
hurting his.
lazy.
Well,
That's
maybe
being
so.
lazy.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe they aren't giving the effort that I thought. You know, maybe that's what it is. Now, I will say, going back to that Georgia game, they didn't give any effort at all in that Georgia game.
Yeah.
But it is. You know, why is this basketball team so inconsistent? Why are they inconsistent? One night they look like that they could play and beat potentially anybody, and then the very next game they turn around and they lose to a bad basketball team. I mean, Texas A&M is not a very good basketball team. We let a team come in that was 9-9, 3-3 in conference, that shot 30% from the field, and we let them beat us at Thompson-Mulling Arena.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that we said, this team can ill afford if they're looking to play meaningful postseason basketball in March. They have to protect home court. They have to win the games that they honestly. A&M was a game we should have won because, like you said, A&M not a terrible team, but to shoot 30%, to play defense well enough to hold an opponent to 30% shooting and still get beat.
Yeah,
get more than doubled up on rebounds. Ah, man, come on.
I know.
Yeah, that's. I thought a lot about this today. I don't want to really go down and rehash all this that we seem to just be in repeat on about this team. Oh, they're inconsistent. They don't have an offensive go-to guy. That all these things that we just keep saying over and over. I wanted to take a different angle and look at this, and I didn't even text you today because I got tied up at work and busy with some other stuff. But when I got in, I started looking. Since 2016, Barnes's first year, of the 11 players signed, there are only 4 that are still on the team. And that's 2016, 2017, 2018. We've had 2 leave early, Bone and Grant Williams, 4 transfer out, and then we've had 1 leave the team for personal reasons, that Kent kid earlier this year.
Yeah.
But I mean, that I think is the bigger picture that we're dealing with right now. All this turnover and inconsistency has left this team with no identity. And then you start this year off figuring you're going to have Pawns. He'd practice all offseason with the team. Figured, the application was sent in, the appeal was
Euros,
made.
right?
Yeah, Euros. And then he's denied. Then you lose Turner 8 games in. I mean, it's just you've got all these things that kind of have stacked up in a year where we already said the letdown or step back from last year was going to be apparent when we lost. Gosh, I had the percent. I mean, it's something 70% of our scoring.
70% of our scoring, yeah, I believe.
You know, when that leaves, and you're talking. At one point, we had 8 scholarship players on the team, and then a couple walk-ons. I mean, it's why are we questioning why this team is struggling? I mean, if we objectively look at stuff and be a realist, you know, I've been really disappointed with a lot of stuff I'm reading, you know, on some message boards and stuff about, oh, you know, Barnes, this and that. He should be fired. It's a shame he's making, you know, 3rd highest paid coach, and this team's terrible. But look at why this team is terrible.
Yes, and I do agree with that. And all this nonsense about him should be fired and all that crap. I mean, that's just ignorance. I mean, it's just absolute ignorance. But I will say that Rick Barnes has missed on some kids since Grant Williams was signed.
Oh, right.
And that is why that we are void down low, and we don't have anybody outside currently right now outside of Fulkerson that can even play down low. And
Well,
yes, we hope that Euros develops into that, but still, you know, you look at Burns, you look at Zach Kent, you know, I mean, those are kids that Barnes signed that he expected to take the place once Williams leaves, and neither one of them are with the program anymore.
Well, and I tell you, one person that I thought really hurt when he transferred out was Derek Walker.
Yeah,
he was getting some minutes, and he was starting to kind of come into his own and come around. Man, he could have been someone that slid right into a role that you know, Schofield left for him. But you know, you can't fault the kid for seeking greener pastures. And if somebody doesn't want to be there, I don't want them there.
Where did Walker end up? I can't even remember.
Let's see. I think
Anybody in the live chat know where?
Nebraska.
Nebraska. Well, they're not even good in basketball, so I don't even know. Is his eligibility up? Is he done? I can't even remember when he left. It's been a couple of years since he left already.
Yeah. I think he still may be playing. He came in 2017. So
but yeah, I mean there's a huge void in the post, and it's coming back to bite this basketball team, and also shooters. I mean this is a very, very bad shooting basketball team. I mean,
right.
Bowden, you know, he didn't hardly even show up in the first half against Kansas. Of course, I know he picked up those 2 fouls, and they pretty much had to sit him. And then he shows up in the second half. I think he scores 17 points. And then last night, he's MIA again.
Oh,
and
man.
then finally, with 6 minutes to go in the basketball game, Jordan Bowden's like, I can drive on these guys. I'm going to take it to the hole. And then he ends up missing a couple of bunnies right there with that. But still, why does it take him basically 35 minutes in a basketball game to figure out that he can drive on these teams?
Well, and that's the thing, because he knows he's the guy. He needs to step up and be the guy. And I think it's too much of a mental block for him. He's used to setting up on the wing and catching and shooting, or catching and driving. And man, I don't know. When he got that one pass to shoot the 3 at the top of the key that ended up going in and tying the game there late last night, I was like, honestly, I thought, no, don't shoot, because at that point I think he was 0 for 6 or 0 for 7. And I mean, you know, it's hard to down a kid, and that's the kind of attitude you want. Is just keep shooting and you'll shoot yourself out of it. Everything that I'm seeing is still the same thing. He's hitting shots in practice.
Yeah,
but
and he
not
went
in games.
1 for 7 last night.
Yeah,
and there was at one point there in the second half that he missed 3 out of 4 foul shots.
Yeah,
I mean, right there's 3 points. We get beat by 5. I mean, there's a gives you at least an opportunity there at the end of the game. But
absolutely,
that's another thing that this basketball team is not doing well is shooting foul shots. I mean, last night they have 66%. So, that's if you're not shooting 75%, 70 to 75% as a team. I mean, that's just points that you're leaving, and this basketball team needs all the points that they can get because, as we've seen this year, they're not going to put up 80 and 90 points a game. Even a lot of times, they're not even going to put 70 up a game. They just don't have the power to do that, the manpower to do it.
Yeah, Matt Griffith throws out, an excellent point. It's a leaderless team, and we've touched on it before. I feel like we are beating this into the ground about this team, and then like you said, that they'll show up and they'll play 2 games that you're like, okay, well maybe not, and then you're right back to it. As far as the recruiting and all that, yeah, there have definitely been some misses. There have been some guys that we got that I think we misevaluated. I think right now, with what we've got coming next year, with the guys that we've offered for 2021, and I think I even saw there's a kid from Clarksville that's playing at the IMG Academy that we've offered for 2022 already. I think we're going after kids that aren't necessarily who we would have gone after 4 or 5 years ago. We're fishing in a little bit deeper waters, and that gives me some confidence. I think that's where it's going to turn around. We're still, like you said, lacking in post, and they've not really addressed that. But they've got guys coming in next year that, their attitude and their game is going to be score. They create on offense and they score. I mean, you're talking two 5-stars, a McDonald's All-American, and a 4-star. It's going to be exciting to watch because I think we're going to see another restructure and change in offensive philosophy and scheme. You may see like a very heavy wing and like a perimeter push fast break dominated offense coming with the speed and talent that we've got, because frankly that's what you're going to want to have on the floor is all those guys, as long as it doesn't get too crowded and you got guys hogging the ball, I guess.
Yeah, I'm ready for football season. Just plain and simple. I'm ready.
Yeah, we gotta get through baseball season first.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe the baseball team will make it to the College World Series. That'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. Matt Griffin says that Bowden needs a leader, and I agree 100%. That we got a team waiting for somebody to step up, but they all have the pass the puck attitude when depended upon. And it's true. I mean, you see this team. How many times have you seen players pass up open shots? Because it's like that they don't have the confidence in their shot, in themselves. But we'll see what ends up happening. We'll see what happens. want to mention again, last week we mentioned it. We got the membership opportunity now for the S&B Network. YouTube has that available now for $2.99 a month. You can get access to these neat Tennessee emojis. Boogie Bentley's got one on the screen right now. So he's got that. It's $2.99 a month. It also gives you access when you comment that it shows up highlighted, so we can get to your comments quicker and everything with that. The more folks that sign up, the more emojis that we get access to. I think Boogie added a Pawns emoji today. So I believe that is it right there. Yep. The Pawns emoji. So those are really, really cool. Bobby Taco is just point blank. They suck.
It's hard to argue that.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
it is.
And like I said, I don't. We've talked about they lack some skill. I don't think that there's any one thing that we are great at. We're okay. We're kind of good in some things, but you know, there are nights when, and I said this from the get-go, I think this team will struggle if we don't shoot well. And boy,
well, they don't shoot well.
Yeah. That was one of the things I said in the season preview, just based on the lineup. And that was looking at it with Turner in there, and with Turner gone, you know, man, I really had hoped Bowden would step up, and we would really see more from Josiah Jordan James.
Yeah. I mean, he's for him to be a 5-star. He's it is really taking him to get used to the college game for sure. I mean, he's definitely not a one and doneer for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
I do not think.
Yeah.
I mean,
he'd be crazy to leave next year.
You compare him to the Edwards kid from Georgia.
There's not any comparison whatsoever. No. And not to say that James won't turn into a great player. I mean, I think that he definitely can. I think that he's the type of kid that will take to the coaching positively, and you know, maybe this time next year, you know, he could be in running for player of the year in the SEC. I mean,
absolutely.
we have seen, that's one thing that always gives me confidence in Barnes, is seeing how that he's able to develop these players. I mean, even going back to Grant Williams and Schofield and Bone, and you know, all of those kids, and then this year, I mean Fulkerson and Pons, are night and day, especially Pons. I mean, night and day difference. I mean, if Pons, you know, develops even more from what he did from last year to this year, and then next year he takes that step forward, I mean, he will be a NBA talent. I mean, the kid can absolutely jump out of the arena. I mean, he is absolutely just phenomenal athlete.
We started off the year, and I think he led the team in scoring the first maybe three of the first 5 games or something like that, 3 of the first 4, and I thought, man, all right, this will be good. And then I'd question if it was going to be consistent, if he was going to be able to maintain that night in and night out.
But he has. I mean, typically, I mean, he's had a couple of games where, you know, he didn't score but 4 or 6 points or something like that. But there's no doubt that him and Fulkerson have been the most consistent players on this basketball team weekend.
But when
night after night,
that was his, you know, average was 4 or 6 points all of last year.
Oh yeah,
and he's going out and you know, dropping what was it, 24 against Kansas.
Yeah. I mean, excellent. I mean, played excellent against a very, very quality opponent who very well could end up being in the Final Four. I mean, I don't think they will, because I think that big center guy the refs will actually call some pushing and shoving on him, and they'll end up in foul trouble. And because I don't really think that they had much as far as length outside of him either. So, and Bill Self usually chokes anyway. So, I don't think, but talent-wise, I think that that Kansas is definitely one of the most talented teams in that. Speaking of that Kansas game, I mean, that dude should have fouled out with probably 6 or 7 minutes to go in the basketball game. I mean, these refs, JP Rant, artist formerly known as Vols JP Rant, right now. These refs, and don't even get me started about the stupid crap last night and the guy bumping into Barnes and then claiming Barnes bumped into him. I mean, that dude ought to be suspended and never be able to ref another game again. But going back to as Buki, whatever his name is, I mean, he was blatantly, every time that he got the ball, he was open because he was pushing off every single time. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. And then they want to call Fulkerson last night on that illegal screen or that block, and the dude tripped over his foot. Fulkerson was not even moving. I mean, I watched that over and over and over. Fulkerson's foot did not move until the kid tripped over it.
His leg was not extended out either.
Yeah, he was just standing there,
setting a screen, and the guy ran into him and fell down. Man, you know, there are bad calls in every game. There are blatantly missed calls both ways a lot of nights.
Well, and it goes back. I mean, I mean, that's all we talk about during football season too.
Yeah.
It's just the shoddy, and I get it. I mean, refereeing has to be, especially at the speed that these players go at. I mean, I know. I mean, there's no way that I could do it, but I mean, these guys, they do it every single season. They probably ref, I don't know how many games a year that they ref. And you know, that's their job. That's what they're getting paid to do. And to pull that stuff that they did last night, and then that guy go up to Barnes and accuse him of bumping into him. Yeah, just like somebody said in right here, you know, I would have been like, I'd been throwing the chair at him or something. I mean, yeah, it's what Matt Griffith said. I mean, you know, I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous that guy then accuses Barnes of bumping into him after that guy blew the darn call.
Yeah,
that basically kept Tennessee from having a chance to even tie the game or send it to overtime. And I'm not saying that the referees cost Tennessee the basketball game last night, because we've talked about the reasons why that Tennessee lost the basketball game, but still, the referees ended up playing a part in it. And then that referee wants to accuse Barnes of bumping into him. Get out of here, man. Get out of here.
And that's just it's poor, and it reflects poorly on the conference. You know, I mean, you can go back to the Kansas game. Where were it was Big 12 officials, wasn't it?
What in the world have we got in the live chat? Is there any way that I can ban that one guy? I'm just kidding, Akari Press. I'm just kidding. I see that, but I'm not putting that on the screen. That is a cuss words that YouTube will not allow us to put on the screen.
You get demonetized for that for sure.
If he wasn't a friend of Boogie's, I'd put him out of here.
Oh man, I don't know.
Seriously, this basketball team, looking at this schedule, I mean, technically, we could be facing a potentially losing our next 6 games. Well, including the 2 that we lost this past week with Kansas, Texas A&M. We go at Mississippi State Saturday. That's always a tough place to play in the hump. That's always tough. And they beat who was it that they beat? Florida last night, which Florida's been up and down. We go at Alabama next Tuesday night. We've always match up bad against Alabama. I think Alabama probably beats this team by 20 plus next Tuesday night. And then Kentucky comes into Thompson Bowl Arena on February the 8th. I'm sorry, but I don't like that matchup at all. And then Arkansas back home. I really think that this basketball team will be doing good if they win 2 out of those 4. I really do.
I'm not going to argue with you. Based on the evidence that's out there and what we've seen, man, it's hard. It's hard to argue. I don't see it, especially when you look at all those teams and they are built with length and athleticism, and we struggle. We struggle.
So
Oh,
negative. Bobby Taco saying so negative, and he's the one that put they suck. Interesting.
I was laughing more at Matt Griffith there. If we go dancing, it's going to be with an ugly chick.
Yeah. Blitz 621 says tough games coming. I see them going 4-5 over the next 9 games. I could see that too, Blitz. I certainly could, buddy. I could. I certainly could. Yeah. And then Matt, if we go dancing, it's going to be with an ugly chick.
I'd like to see NIT. I mean, some kind of postseason play, extend the season a little bit, because it's like we talked about in football. It's more game experience. It's you get to that postseason, it's a little bit of a reward for the players. And if we do somehow find a way to fight and claw and scrap and get to the NIT, long shot, the NCAA tournament.
The only way that this basketball team makes the NCAA tournament,
probably winning out or winning the conference tournament.
Yeah, that's it. There is no way, and I know it was fool's gold last week. It was fool's gold. I bought in when we beat 2 crappy teams, and I was even encouraged Saturday after that loss to Kansas. I thought this basketball team can turn it around. They're getting better. They played better the last 3 games, and then they go out last night and they lay an egg. They're just too inconsistent for all the reasons that we talked about. There's no way that this basketball team, without winning the SEC tournament, makes it to the NCAA tournament. I just don't see it happening. Hope I'm wrong. I'll eat crow. I've done it many times on here. Remember, I was the one that said Jeremy Pruitt wouldn't make it through the year. So I'll eat crow. I've always done it before. So I'm not ashamed to say that I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about. So,
well, and it's not like you're pulling for them to lose either. I mean, if they win out, you'll be dancing in the street.
I'll be dancing in the street. I'll be
singing Rocky Top at the top of your lungs.
I sure will. But the realist in me says that there's no way. I mean, there's just no way, looking at this schedule, that they are going to win enough games in the regular season to put themselves in position to make the NCAA tournament. It's just not going to happen. Wished it would, but it's not.
That has been what's absolutely crazy about this season. The ebbs and the flows. We go from being up on the peak down to a valley. With Turner, Lamonte going out, Euros getting denied, and then Euros finally getting eligible. All these other things. It's just it's been such a wacky season for this team. Like you said, they'll come out and play. And play really, really well and look like they could play with almost anybody in the country. And we talked about that. I think college basketball as a whole is kind of in a down trend right now. There's a lot of parity and when a team comes out and plays well and everything clicks, that they do look good. But then they come out and look like a JV team or something,
Like they did last night.
Yeah, I mean, to get out rebounded by double. I mean, we're not talking, that A&M pulled down 3 or 4 more rebounds. That they pulled down over 20 more rebounds than we did.
Yeah.
I mean, that is lack of hustle, lack of determination, and just not being tough enough to say, I'm going in there getting I mean, at least foul somebody and try to get the ball. Instead of standing there watching their one big guy in the center there. I saw him. He got 3 shot attempts on 1 possession.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there like, gosh, somebody do at least foul him. Send him to the free throw line instead of letting him just point blank look after point blank look.
Yep. Matt Griffin says the BasketVAWLS need some red Powerade. If I knew if that would help, I would buy them cases of it and send it down there, or maybe charge Barnes for it since he makes the big bucks.
Yeah.
Blitz 621 says you guys do a great job. Blitz 621, I certainly appreciate that, buddy. We have fun with this. We don't know all the answers. We're no experts, but we have fun at it, and we enjoy hanging out with you guys at least once a week. Even though the basketball team is struggling, we still like coming on here and talking about our beloved Vols. And you also make another good comment, Blitz. Seems like they played with their opponents, and you are very true right there. I certainly believe that as well, because it certainly seemed that way Saturday against Kansas. Tennessee came out, I felt, and had a very good offensive plan. They looked so much smoother on offense. And then last night, it was again, here we go, jacking up 26 three-point attempts. So I don't know.
Well, and the other thing is, like you alluded to it earlier, you'll have a guy catch the ball and have an open look,
and he passes it up.
Passes it up.
Yeah, pass it up. So we'll see. We got 2 big games coming up this week, next 2 games: Mississippi State Saturday, and then against the Alabama Crimson Tide Tuesday night at 7:00. I guess that'll probably be on ESPN or the SEC network. So we'll be right back here again next week, next Wednesday night at 7:00 for another episode, and we'll talk about Mississippi State and Alabama. We'll see if our Vols are still on their losing streak or if they have turned it around. Dobber, you got anything else to say tonight?
No, I'm good. It's just frustrating. It's because it's apparent. I mean, like I said, we've beat into the ground what this team is plagued by, and like Bobby Taco said, like you've got on the screen right there, rebounds and turnovers. You clean that up. I mean that was, I think, 2 of my points the end of last week's show. For this team to go to the tournament, that they needed to, play a little harder and protect the ball. And man, I just don't know that that they've got it in them. We'll see. We'll keep watching. We'll keep pulling for them.
We'll see what happens. And you are killing me, Vols. That is certainly true. That's certainly true. I feel like Smalls. You're killing me, Smalls. Matt Griffin says, great show, guys. It's hard to come here on this platform when you're handed literally crap by the team to work with. Well, Matt, we certainly appreciate it. We appreciate all of you tuning in tonight. We appreciate all of you regular listeners. We appreciate all the newcomers. And be sure that you like the video, share out that link, and we'll see you all again next Wednesday night. Bobby Taco, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. And until next Wednesday night, for Dobber, I am the artist formerly known as Vols JP. I may even have the brown paper bag over my head next Wednesday night if we're still on this losing streak. But until then, have a great week, everybody, and we will see you next Wednesday night. Go Vols.